And we're live and we're here.
Coaches. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, they can't hold a flame against you, ay. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, got the game, it ain't no issue, yeah. Blowing the whistle, I had enough with you, the championship, it is gone. Ain't listen to you, I can't give it to you, cause you don't know what I've been on. This is the Coaches Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host, as always, Coach Steve. With me today is my main man, Coach Jibbs. What's going on today, brother?
Ain't much, man. Just living life and enjoying our nice weather that we're having in Jersey.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you had a good birthday, I assume, right?
Yes, man. World Cup.
World Cup.
Eagles win. Fantasy teams did pretty all right, so I really can't complain.
I can't complain. That's a great birthday right there, of course. All right. And Coach John, he might join us in a little bit. He had some things to catch up on at work today, so he might not be able to get into our pod today. But don't worry, he'll be back on Thursday. But he may also make an appearance. So we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, week 11 was definitely very interesting. The waiver wires, just overall, it's okay. It's not like it was last week. I think last week was a lot better of availability for some of the top players available. But we're still going to give you guys some really good players to talk about. But first, let's get into some fantasy news. All right. So week 11, we had some injuries. Justin Fields, shoulder injury. He is considered day-to-day right now. We'll know more about his progress as the week goes on. Joe Mixon had a concussion, kept him out pretty early in that game against the Steelers. We don't know. Usually with concussions, if he seemed like he actually had one, it's a good chance he misses week 12. So keep that in mind. Chase Edmonds, ankle injury. We found out, though, now it is a high ankle sprain, and he's likely to miss a few weeks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I haven't seen any official reports yet. I did see something last night that Andy Reid said that might be a high ankle sprain, which would be obviously pretty devastating, obviously. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't good anyway at this point, but obviously, he'd probably be out for multiple weeks. Kadarius Toney hamstring injury. Who knows if that's going to be a long-term thing. Matthew Stafford received another concussion. That's 2 now in the last 3 weeks. Definitely not a great thing for him. We'll see if he plays this week. It's not, probably would be unlikely he does, but we'll see. And then Jaylen Warren had I think it was a pretty mild hamstring injury, so keep that in mind overall. So we'll see how that works. Some of the bigger guys, Wan'Dale Robinson, knee injury, torn ACL. He is out for the season now. And of course, Kyle Pitts, torn MCL. He is out for the season guy as well now. Atlanta already put him on the IR, which could be a good thing because I think a lot of people were just playing Kyle Pitts or maybe holding on to him because he was injured, Jibbs. Are you okay with are you happy or not happy about it, but is it a sign of relief that Kyle Pitts is not playing anymore this year?
It kind of is. Like, we can't use him in our starting sits every week. But, yeah, like, maybe he could just get his act together, get healthy, and then start the new season fresh. Like, and hopefully we kind of get in the Kyle Pitts that we're expecting that we were getting with that third round ADP that we were all selecting them in during draft season.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, never want to have an injury to anyone, but it's definitely for those who just continue to have to start him, probably are like, all right, now I can go on to somebody else maybe now. So, Jameson Williams has been designated to return from IR. This is fantastic news. We'll see exactly when he plays. I doubt it will be this Thursday, but the following week, week 13, there's a high chance he plays, and it will definitely change the way we look at this Lions offense here. He is definitely someone. We'll talk about him a little bit, but yeah, he's coming back. Gio Bernard is designated to return from injury. I don't know if this will have an impact, Jibbs. I mean, he was only a really pass catching back. He's older now. I doubt it, but
Hopefully it doesn't, dude, because like it's bad enough that Fournette was basically kind of making like his hay, getting the receptions, and you already know he got his rushing load cut in half with White immersion. So if he's added to the kitchen, man, he's cooked.
Yeah,
toast.
I hope that's not the case though, but we'll see. Kyler Murray, there's a chance that Kyler Murray doesn't play until week 14 after their week 13 bye. So that is going to be interesting for those who are looking to make a run. you might not have Kyler Murray to help you out. So, and of course, this was pretty interesting. The Denver Broncos have cut Melvin Gordon from their team now. So no Melvin Gordon, no Chase Edmonds. This is a whole new backfield here in Denver now. They've gone through almost like 5 running backs this season. So we'll talk about some players to pick up, obviously, for your Week 12 season. So, all right, enough with the news here now. Let's get back into what we did. Well, Jib, did you see the doc or no?
I just did. You can
All
go
right,
first.
well, then we'll skip the first part then, and we'll go over to last week's results. Jibs was not on the show last week, but John had Christian Watson, Foster Moreau, Darius Slayton, Nico Collins, and Van Jefferson, all pretty decent overall waiver plays there for sure, or at least pickups for the rest of the season. I had Rashard White, Isaiah Pacheco, Cole Kmet, Deshaun Watson, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Again, 4 of them pretty decent for the most part so far. White wasn't playing last week, and then obviously Watson has not played yet, but we had a pretty good waiver wire week last week. So let's do it again this week here, and we'll start with Jibs. Just so everyone knows, there are no bye weeks this week. The NFL has said we want everyone playing on Thanksgiving, so there will be no bye weeks this week. So everyone should be available for you, but maybe you want to find some players to help you with your championship run. That's what we're doing here now. So, Coach Jibs, give us your top 5 overall waiver wire pickups.
Okay, I know like you just mentioned there's no bye week, so like if you're struggling, you still need a quarterback, maybe you're like a Fields manager who didn't have anyone initially, like I would kind of look into Matt Ryan and I know it sounds disgusting, but in theory he does have a decent matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we just saw let up 37 points to the Cincinnati Bengals. Their offensive minus like the running game or passing offense looks pretty decent. So like I wouldn't mind using him in a pinch. I know he's not going to have any upside whatsoever, but as a floor quarterback, you can't go wrong. Running back, obviously, with the news of Chase Edmonds and Melvin Gordon being cut, at least Latavius Murray, I believe he's under 40% rostered. So we saw him get 21 rushing attempts, I think, yesterday. And I know it's on the Denver Broncos offense, but a guy getting that workload needs to be on a roster. He's definitely the number 1 running back pickup. Wide receivers, Treylon Burks, if he was cut during his injury stint, we saw him explode for 7 receptions and 111 receiving yards last week. And I know like the Titans' MO is run, 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 but they do have some matchups upcoming that I think they'll probably have to pass to kind of win. So I know they're playing the Bengals and the Eagles in the next couple of weeks. So he will be a good addition to your team. Nico Collins, just more guys that can help you out. I'm pretty sure Steve will have some long-term guys for you, but Nico Collins has been not good, not bad, but he's still leading the team basically, and he's being more consistent with the team in receiving work. Plays the Dolphins next week. I think that's a matchup that's favorable. It's not the best, but the Dolphins defense has been leaky as lately. And then if you need a tight end, Foster Moreau going against the Seattle Seahawks, pretty much the best matchup a tight end can ask for in fantasy. So those are my guys this week.
I love it. Definitely some good players you can pick up for sure. We got George in the chat here. He said AJ Brown is crushing my soul. Jalen Hurts, the touchdown vulture, strikes again.
Yeah, he's crushing my soul too. But hey,
He'll bounce back. He'll have a couple more games where he gets those touchdowns. So just the way Jalen Hurts plays football, unfortunately. You have to take the good with the bad, but he'll bounce back. Let's see. So my overall top 5 guys this week, I went with Samaje Perine, with Joe Mixon concussed from potentially missing week 12. Again, this one's risky, obviously, because maybe Joe Mixon plays, but if he doesn't, you get yourself a locked and loaded, probably mid-range RB2. Anytime Perine has ever seen a bigger workload, he's produced pretty solid RB2 numbers. And in a high-scoring offense, there's going to be chances for touchdowns. And again, you might need to be a little bit more desperate at running back to go out there and grab Perine. But if he does get the start, he's going to be well worth it for your fantasy week. So Samaje Perine is my first waiver wire guy. My second one is got to be Latavius Murray at this point. Latavius Murray, I had it before. He was controlling the first and second down now, but it seemed like he's going to have the whole backfield to himself because I don't trust Marlon Mack that much. I don't trust Devine or Zigbo either. It's Latavius Murray's backfield for at this moment. And, over the last 3 weeks, he's led the team in carries. He's finally outsnapped Melvin Gordon this past week, but Melvin Gordon's gone now, so now it's definitely his backfield. I mean, if you're looking for an RB2 rest of the season at this point, he has some pretty solid matchups over the next month and a half now. Latavius Murray is going to be a fine, mid-range, low-end RB2 probably every week with some upside if he scores a touchdown or two. So he's my second must pick up this week. Third, it's got to be Treylon Burks. Jibs mentioned before. He had a big game. Again, the one part of his 111 yards was a 50-yard bomb at the end of the game for no reason at all, but it was great for us for fantasy. But, he's a young wide receiver that's coming off a big injury, that's working his way back into the offense still. Jibs mentioned they have some favorable matchups down the stretch here where they might need to throw the ball a little bit more. And, at some point, Burks is going to have his big day at some point. I mean, he had a pretty big day, but he really hasn't scored yet this season. I think it was just one touchdown on the year. I expect a couple of more decent games down the stretch for a guy like Treylon Burks. Next up for me is Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is claimed healthy now, and he's pretty much deciding between the Cowboys and the Giants, which Cowboys might make it more interesting, maybe. The Giants, there might be target volume there for him. But a healthy Odell right now, I feel like you can't get a guy who could end up putting up pretty decent wide receiver 2 numbers for you in fantasy right now off waivers. That could be really consistent depending on where he goes right now. And again, if he's getting 6 to 8 targets a game as a healthy Odell Beckham, I know he's a little older now. He's not the young guys he used to be. Sign me up for that. I want to hold that on my bench now if I can and see if that upside that he used to have when he was younger is still there for us in fantasy. So he's another guy I'm looking to pick up now. He could be important for your playoff run. Next up is probably one of my most important guys I want to pick up right now, if I can, especially if you're in an IR spot because he is still designated for IR, is Jameson Williams. We mentioned him already. That's just an electric, kind of fast wide receiver here who, once he gets the ball in his hand, I mean, he could just take it to the house at any single time. And the way that the Lions are playing right now, they play a more of a shorting passing game here where I think if it's just a little cross to Williams, and it could go 90 yards very easily. And I think that upside, if you're especially a contending team, I'd want that on my roster. I'm looking to have an upside players. To this point in the season now, people who are trying to make the playoffs are trying to get players who can help them win now. But players who are comfortable, those who are 8-2, 9-1 right now, 7-3, even maybe not 7-3 as much, but I'm looking for high-end depth pieces on my team now that could explode and just be my savior to make my playoff run. So Jameson Williams is a great guy to grab right now. We do have a question track from Marco here. Should I trade away Alvin Kamara or Joe Mixon to receive Stephon Diggs and Zeke Elliott? My RBs are Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Darrell Henderson, I'm assuming, and my wide receiver, and P. Ryan, and my wide receivers are Olave, Pittman, Myers, Slayton. PPR double flex. I'm in the playoff push. Ooh. If they're willing to take on Mixon right now,
I would definitely do Mixon.
I believe Mixon has a pretty tough playoff schedule, if I'm not mistaken. If I can pull that up real quick for you.
No, don't do it.
Huh?
I said don't do it. He was going to be one of my players to sell.
Oh, God.
But go ahead. You could spit on the facts.
I mean, Tampa, New England, and Buffalo, it's a pretty tough matchup right there in the playoffs. So if you could give rid of Diggs to get 2 players, especially in a double flex PPR league, I'm all about that. Diggs is a Sherlock. I would have done it straight up for just Diggs. I think, Jibs. I don't know how about you feel about it, but I would just get Diggs just for Mixon. Even though it keep him a little low at RB. I mean, Diggs is putting up 20 points a game almost every single week. Mixon, he had that one great game, but it's been kind of mediocre. And Zeke, he'll probably get you 10 points most weeks. So you're good with this trade? Mixon for this year? All right.
For sure.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Marco, there's your answer there. Do it Mixon. Keep Alvin Kamara still. Let's see. We did our top 5s overall. Such a fast episode today. Oh my God. Over to the positional waivers now, guys. Again, if you have any comments, please throw them in the chat. More than happy to answer them. Let's start with the quarterbacks for the week. You mentioned a few, Matt Ryan already, but there's some others out there. Ryan Tannehill versus Cincinnati Bengals this week. Tyler Heineke's been kind of bad the last 2 weeks, but he gets the Atlanta Falcons this week. And of course, if Deshaun Watson is happened to be out there, he's over the 40% now, but should probably be picked up. You're good with Matt Ryan, Jibs?
I'm good with Matt Ryan, Taylor Heineke too as well. Just given the Falcons' state of affairs.
Yeah, it's not the best week for quarterback pickups, but again, there's no one on bye, so these guys might not need to be picked up unless you had Fields and you don't have anyone else, and Fields maybe doesn't play, or Matthew Stafford. These guys are probably the best pickups you can make for at least this week. In terms of RB, we mentioned Samaje Perine already. We mentioned Latavius Murray. Some other names that I want to highlight are like, Cam Akers is someone that you consider targeting. He did have 16 carries this week. Again, wasn't too impressive, but he did have 16 carries. Who knows if that's going to be consistent? Kerryon Williams, his teammate, also had a pretty decent outing, and he led the team in snaps. Again, it's really not really wanting anyone on this Rams team, but at times our RB situation does get desperate, and they're probably the best pickups right now. James Cook had a pretty good week, and he gets another good matchup this coming week against the Lions. And Katarian Ingram from the Arizona Cardinals. We don't know what's going to happen with this Cardinals offense just yet, but if he has a good game, he's definitely going to be worth a pickup. So those are some top guys. Some other guys, the backer end, if maybe they're not available or you didn't get any of these guys, Justin Jackson is getting mixed into this Lions offense. Isaiah Spiller seems to have the backup role for Austin Eckler. Jarrett McKinnon is always a decent option in PPR leagues. Jalen Warren, though he's hurt, could still be picked up. Dontrell Hilliard is probably one of the guys I kind of do like in this back end because he's seeing work at times, and he's been very efficient as a runner this year. Tristan Epner from the Chicago Bears. He didn't have a big role in this offense this first week, but I don't know if I trust that Dave Montgomery is just going to see all this work and no one else is going to get out there. And again, Marlon Mack, God forbid sometimes Latavius Murray, someone needs to start running back for the Broncos. And Alexander Madison is always out there still. Again, not a great RB week, but I mean, P. Ryan kind of highlights it if Mixon doesn't go there. Is there anything else you want to talk about here, Jibs?
Not really. Spiller looked pretty good in his limited action Sunday night. McKinnon let me down. Hilliard, like you said, like he seems to get 5 to 7 touches a week, but somehow he finds an end zone every other week or so. So those would be the guys I'll look into,
Right.
especially in the back tier.
Of course. And again, we're only talking people under 40%. So if Isaiah Pacheco, Shard White are out there, Gus Edwards still, go get those guys. 100%. Those are the guys you really want on your team if they're out there. They might not be, and we do try to keep it under the 40% mark, but if they're out there, go get those guys for sure. So, all right, over to wide receiver now. So for wide receiver, guys that just over the 40% mark, Paris Campbell and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'd probably want those over everyone else at this point because they're performing very well this season. Some more likely targets. Sky Moore was in my top 5, but I did tane him out for Odell Beckham. But Sky Moore saw 5 for 63 yards this past week here with, everyone getting hurt at wide receiver for the Chiefs. It might eventually be Sky Moore's time. Obviously, Treylon Burks and Odell Beckham I've already mentioned, but some other guys that are down there. Terrence Marshall has been better as of lately. Not great, but better if you're looking for somebody. Matt Collins, I feel like he's has another big blow-up game at some point this season coming his way. Don't know when, but it's out there, and he's been decently average, consistent, low floor. Justin Watson might be the secret wide receiver in Kansas City, honestly. He had a pretty decent week, and he led the team in snaps at wide receiver. I mentioned Jameson Williams already. Nico Collins, Jibs, you mentioned. Randall Cobb. Randall, we know Aaron Rodgers loves his safety blanket as a veteran guy. Jarvis Landry is now under the 40% mark. He had a pretty decent outing. And Kendall Hilton for the Denver Broncos, not great, but I mean, he's a body that could get you some 10 points maybe in a week or some here and there. So anyone out of the wide receiver group, Jibs, you want to mention?
Also, Demarcus Robinson, like he's always fool's gold, but he had a pretty damn good game on yesterday. So
this is true. Yeah, he's definitely. He had a really good game. I was surprised about that for sure. But yeah, no. Again, the wide receivers, some of those top tier ones you want for long term rest of the season. Again, it's not a group there's not one guy out there that's oh my god I need to have right away. But there's some guys out there for sure. Tight ends, there's probably some more decent tight ends than anything recently at this point. But Cade Auden, he's coming off a bye. We'll see if he still gets that starting job with Karen Breakback now. Jawan Johnson just continues to perform. Honestly, I thought it was his down week. Finally, he was one of my sits this past week, but he proved me wrong, to be honest. There, and he's got tough matchups, but man, he's just performing and getting a touchdown every single week. If he continues to do that, I want that. A touchdown gets me 6 points. That's almost a tight end one right there. Foster Moreau, Jim, you mentioned him already. He's got a fantastic matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. Noah Fant, again, he's still out there. Trey McBride, if he ends up doing well tonight, he might be worth a pickup then. And then Evan Ingram is also obviously out there still, who's someone who's pretty consistent up until the last game or two now, but he was doing pretty well. Anyone here, Jibs, you would like to mention?
Just the top three.
Top three. All right. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see here. Did you said you have a sell high, buy low, you said? Did you
I
want
was
to
gonna
mention?
use sell as Joe Mixon based off the tough schedule, but I kind of find it hard to sell a guy who's concussed too. But
True.
um,
Do you need to think about it for a second?
I'm still gonna think. I guess a player to buy would be Tony Pollard. Just had
You're
an
buying
extra
high. Are
string.
you buying high on this situation?
I'll buy high on it
Why would you buy high on it?
because like I just feel like even they had a great game and the receivers probably weren't that much involved, but you saw Zeke get 2 touchdowns, and I figured like managers might think he'll go back into the 50-50 role. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's like a complete buy high, but I think that if you can, Keenan Allen hasn't really done much this year, but he's the only man there. Seems him and Palmer. So those would be my two.
All right. Okay. I like it. For me, guys, I did go with I did do because since I did it, I did have players at hand. I had Mike Evans. Mike Evans was pretty quiet over the last few weeks here now, and I think the Bucks hopefully during their bye week figured out what was wrong with their offense and what they needed to do here. And Mike Evans is only like 370 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. No way in hell they don't try to get him another 1,000-yard season this year. So at the end of the stretch with some pretty, I would say, offenses you're going to probably have to keep up with, I think Mike Evans is a good buy low player right now for you in fantasy. Someone else, I'm trying to think of who would be a good buy low right now still. Man, I mean, if Nick Chubb coming off a bad game, I know his matchups in the playoffs aren't great. But I think with Deshaun Watson coming back, I'm hoping that this offense can take it to another level and really just outdo themselves this coming season. Honestly, I think that's something you want to buy into with a guy like Nick Chubb right now. He had a down week. People are complaining about his playoff schedule being kind of shitty, which is not a great playoff schedule. Definitely not a great playoff schedule. But players in good offenses know how to find ways to win. And if Deshaun Watson comes back, this defense is going to have to respect Deshaun Watson in the passing game, which will open up the holes a little bit more for Nick Chubb. And I think Nick Chubb can outbeat good defenses. So he's another good buy low. Z Money said he needs D Hop to drop 24 tonight. Does he do it?
I need D Hop to drop 24 too, so I'm with you on Z Money. Let's get
I
that
mean,
24. He had almost 20 points last week at Colt McCoy. I know it was a more favorable matchup. I'm figuring it'll probably be a more offensive game. So I think if he gets his normal target volume, I think it could happen.
Yeah, I mean,
If he
it's
gets a
possible.
touchdown, I think it's even better chance.
Yeah. I mean, if full point PPR, I'd say more likely half point. I'd say no, but
Yeah.
Z Money, we're hopeful for you as well, man. We hope you get it, man. We hope you get that win this week, man. Everyone needs a win this week. Anything sell high related, Jibs? Oh, you did sell high. You did Joe Mixon, right?
Yeah, Joe Mixon.
Joe
Playoff
Mixon.
schedule is brutal.
It is very brutal, yes. Let me see here. Someone that I think of as a sell high right now. Man, it's definitely tough. I mean, Christian Watson, he might be considered a sell high right now. I mean, he's had 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, and some people love the rookie fever. And will he be good the rest of the season? Potentially. He could end up having a good rest of the season, absolutely. But does he get 2 touchdowns every single week? I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. At some point, Romeo Doubs does come back. So I think that is potentially that he could come back, and it might hurt Christian Watson at some point. So I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't know. I like his talent. I just don't know if he's getting 2 touchdowns every week. So if someone's willing to give you more of a named person that is always consistent, I want that over a 2-week stretch of being uber efficient in fantasy. So that's a sell high for me. Z Money said I'm at 101 with Hopkins left, and he's at 111 with Kittle. Oof. Oh, Z Money, man. We're hopeful for you, brother. This is a great
Oh,
matchup for Kittle. So, but I need Kittle to be bad too. So I'm with you. I'm hoping for a bad Kittle game, man. It's not for me. All right. So this is a pretty quick episode tonight, guys. If anyone had any more fantasy questions, please throw them in the chat or we will be going tonight. Jibs, anything you want to say before we get out of here tonight?
Get those trades in before the deadline.
Yes, get those trades in. Make some trades now. Do it before you run out of time because once you can't, it's done for that. So, but we appreciate you guys all for listening. And as always, please always throw your fantasy questions in the chat for us. We'd love to answer any fantasy questions that you guys might have, either starts or sits, waivers, trades, whatever. And again, please go check out our website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. Z-Money said, should I keep Mixon? We both had Mixon as a sell player right now. Jibs had him as a sell if you can. He does have a concussion right now, Z-Money. But if someone's willing to buy his progress right now or his talent, 100% selling Mixon. His playoff schedule's tough, and gets what you can for it. Don't get what you can, but get something really good back in return. We had somebody before be able to get Diggs and Zeke for Mixon. So if you can get at least Diggs out of it, that would be awesome. So I'd be looking to trade, and I think Jibs already had him as a sell high. He's all right. All right. So, guys, again, check out our website, www.thefantasycoaches.com. Hit us up over on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you might listen to podcasts, listen to or watch for fantasy content. We're out there. Always welcome to help you guys out whenever you need it. We're just here to help you guys win championships. So tune in until next time, guys. We'll be back Wednesday night this week. To do our start and sit episode this week because of Thanksgiving this week. But if we don't hear from you guys, have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.